Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Andrea Putting. Hello. How are
Hello,
you doing?
Caroline.
Oh, I'm
Lovely to
so happy that you said yes to our interview today. And I would like to present you to the audience. Okay, you are a conscious entrepreneur and the founder of Chocolate and Coffee Day for Religious Harmony. Her best selling and award winning books, Compassionate Prosperity and Compassionate Purpose, weave together the threads of social mission with the quest of deeper meaning in our lives. As a speaker and podcast host, Andrea advocates for unity and the potent impact of storytelling. She's the founder of Putting Words, a self publishing house where she empowers emerging authors to carve out their own path to bestseller status. You live in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm so happy that you are here.
Thank you, Caroline. I'm very happy to be here.
Wow. Let's talk a little bit about inspiration. First of all, what inspires you?
Ooh, there's lots of things that inspire me. I can be inspired by the tree that's out my window. I'm constantly inspired by that. And if you read any of my books, I'm bound to have mentioned that at least once.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, I'm inspired by people who are doing amazing things in the world, who take it upon themselves to solve a problem, to do something good for the world. So they're the people who inspire me the most, and they can be the simplest things that they're doing, but they're making a difference, and that's the important thing.
Wow, that's so true. And you mentioned also, you sent me your little bio, and I asked you the question for someone you would refer to be my next guest. And you said Melinda Shelley. She's the founder of
Mhm.
a charity organization. Is she also inspiring you?
Oh, she's a very inspiring woman. She started this charity and collects books for children who are living in low social economical situations. So their parents can't afford to buy books because they're struggling to put food on the table. So she collects gently loved books or new books, whatever people want to donate, and then she distributes them to children. And she's given away, I don't know how many, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of books to children. And when there's situations like bushfires and floods, she also makes sure that those children have a book to read and something that they can love. It brings them joy. And her passion with that is that she believes that she can change the whole culture of Australia, because when children don't have books in the home, they're behind at school, and it's shown that the children who don't learn to read are often those who end up in prison. So she wants to make sure that every child has books to read.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I would like to know more about your chocolate and coffee day. What is this exactly?
Chocolate and Coffee Day is a passion that I developed, and I guess I should tell you where it came from. So there was an incident in Sydney, which is 1,000 kilometers away from me, but it was in a chocolate and coffee shop, cafe, and a Muslim gunman took hostages, and in the aftermath, two innocent people and the gunman were killed. Now, there was a fear there'd be retaliation against the Muslims because of this, although this man was actually turned out he was a known nut job. But there was that fear, and the Muslims were afraid to go out. But instead, what happened? 150,000 people went onto social media with the hashtag "I will ride with you," offering to ride the train, the bus, the ferry with Muslim people to ensure that they got to their destination safely.
Wow.
So instead of there being hate, there was this outpouring of love. Now, there was just something about this that just really sat with me, and I was like, "Well, why do we wait until there's a tragedy before we share that we wanna live in a society where people care about each other and accept each other?" And so I started Chocolate and Coffee Day for religious harmony, and the idea of that is so simple. I'm encouraging people to reach out to someone who's different to them and share in chocolate and coffee and have a conversation. Get
Wow.
to know somebody who you may not thought you would ever have anything in common with. Because that kind of doing that helps to break down barriers in our community, and it allows people to connect and discover that somebody who is so different is actually very much the same. So then that's where Chocolate and Coffee Day started, and there's just so many other ways it can be used. So it's not just religious harmony, it's all sorts of cultural differences, ability differences, political differences, all sorts of things that come up, which I encourage people to just sit down and have a conversation with people. And so now kind of expanding on that because we don't want to just have chocolate and coffee once a year.
So true. Not once a year. We want to have it every day with
That's
someone
right.
we don't know.
Yes.
Wow, I love that idea. And now I can imagine how it looks like. I also love chocolate and coffee.
Mhm.
And I love meeting new people like you, for example. We never
Yes.
met before. So thank you for your openness as well to do that. We know many people are saying no because, like, I don't know you. Why should I trust you? Or hop on a virtual chocolate and coffee or podcast interview like this today.
Mhm.
And my next question is, how do you inspire other people?
I believe I inspire them with chocolate and coffee to start with, but also I inspire people to take up a cause, as social mission to to make a difference. And I explain to them that it doesn't have to be something that's big. There are a lot of people who want to do those, start a foundation and start a charity, and that's amazing and wonderful, and we need those people. But also, for some, it's just doing those little things. It's doing those, reaching out to someone and saying a kind word, growing flowers and giving them to a hospital. Whatever it is that you can do, it is perfect, and it's gonna touch someone's life, and when that touches someone's life, it changes the world because it changes for you, it changes for them, and it changes for all the people that that person knows. So, it's just that, and I believe that I inspire people to just stop and think, "Well, what is it that I can do in the world? What is the difference that speaks to me? What is it that I have to give to the world?" And I really hope that I'm inspiring people to go out there and make the difference because they realize that they can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand what you mean. And I was thinking about when you were talking, because I have also the purpose. I am about to build my own foundation. This is or nonprofit or whatever you want to call it, charity events or so. And I thought, isn't it sometimes just an excuse to not start or so when we say one day or when my foundation has been built up, then I am able to help others also. What you mentioned, and this is very inspiring, about do it now. Do give
Mm,
what you can give now. You mentioned it, growing flowers, giving to it, it can be to a hospital or to the next person you meet on the street, for example.
yes. And
Wow.
it can be, and that's the thing, when I started Chocolate and Coffee Day, it's like I had no idea what I was doing, and the idea of keeping that simple because anyone can do that, and there's no excuses.
Mhm.
Chocolate doesn't have to be expensive, and you can get a cup of coffee, so you can spend a couple of dollars and be able to take part. You don't have to do a great big elaborate thing, and So, although sometimes I do elaborate things, but it's a basic idea. And if we just start with whatever it is we can do, it's going to make a difference.
Yes. And we also receive more ideas to what we can do next. The thing, and I think the key is in starting. Whatever it is, you start and you grow from there. This is so
Absolutely.
amazing. Okay, my next question is, what are your gifts and talents?
Oh, my gifts and talents. Well, mm, I can write. I can write. So I have books. I've written books and I am a speaker. And that's something I've done my whole life. And I think I'm reasonably good at it. So I call it my comfort zone. I really enjoy being on stage and talking to people. So that's a couple of my talents in that area. I'm also good at organizing and keeping things in track, and leadership is another one of my skills, and lots of other things. I love to sew. Let's throw that one in. I love to sew my own clothes. So that's something else that's different that I when I need to have a break, I'll just go find my pull
Oh,
out a bit of fabric and run it through the sewing machine and I feel good.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And now I'd like to know more about your goals for 2024.
What I'd love to achieve this year is more with my publishing. I have a collaborative book that I'm working on, and so I'd like to do a couple of those and get more authors out into the world and become bestsellers because that's a big thrill. I'd like to be on more stages speaking about the social mission revolution and chocolate and coffee. So at the moment, I'm also working on developing chocolate and coffee into that experience that fits in with any day of the year. So I'd like to have that up and going and lots of people sharing in chocolate and coffee throughout Melbourne and throughout the world to start getting it into the world a lot more.
Yes, you are already in the world. I'm in Germany right now. So I love that we can be connected through the social media as well. And thank you
Yes.
for sharing. It gives me a totally new idea about chocolate and coffee and what we can do
Wonderful.
with it and doing good for other people as well and speaking with them. Wow, this is so amazing. Also, your gift, when you said about speaking on stage or so, there are many people who are afraid of doing that. I would be one of them, and it is we can improve, of course, if we set our mind to it. If you have this in your comfort zone, it's perfect. So it's in your nature, right? It's yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, and I understand that people are do have a fear of public speaking, and I do understand it. Of course, there's always those bit of nerves, so there's things that people can do to help calm their nerves and get used to speaking a little bit more on stage.
Yes. Wow. This is very encouraging to me because this would be my next step. I have little steps, and the podcast is one of the speaking experience, of course. Yes.
Mm,
Okay. I have one last question to you. And
yep.
it is, when people reach out to you after listening to this podcast episode, do you have a special offer for the podcast, for the inspired podcast community?
Yes, if they're interested in chocolate and coffee, they can jump onto chocolateandcoffeebreaks.com and they can download a resource pack which gives them lots of ideas on how to do chocolate and coffee, and there's conversation starters, and there's all sorts of things. But if they like, they can also, if they, I've got so many websites. So I'm happy to give them two. 2 chapters of one of my books, and so that they can get some ideas on what a social mission's about, or how to develop their compassionate purpose. So I'll get that organised for them, and they'll be able to download that from andreaputting.com.au/compassion.
Okay. Wow, this is so generous and inspiring as well. I love that very much. What you said, you gave me ideas, yeah, about
That's
this.
great.
Wow, thank you so much. I enjoyed our conversation. I hope you too.
I did.
And
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank
have
you.
an
Thank you very
amazing
much,
day.
Caroline.
Thank you so much. Please connect to Andrea. She's amazing. I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to reading her books. Wow. Thank you so much and see you in the next episode.